Guys, hope you're not getting tired. So our next speaker is a co-founder of Hromada and editor of a newspaper also called Hromada, Nataliya Anon.
First of all, I want to thank the students of Stanford for organizing it. Students are always impetus for making all the changes for being progressive societies. When I was a student here 22 years ago, we also had, there was the first Ukrainian Student Association, and what we were doing, we were writing a letter, Kuchma, Ukraine without Kuchma. Now, so many years later, another student association and doing amazing things. I want to talk about Hromada. Hromada is the non-profit organization, local. We are headquartered in Corte Madera in Marin, and we started in 2017. And the purpose of Hromada was to publish the first Ukrainian newspaper so that we would popularize Ukrainian language on the West Coast. That was the first newspaper. We would create this media space with Ukrainian language, and we would give the local diaspora, Ukrainian diaspora, a voice. That was back in 2017. And if you know, Ukrainians here know what Hromada stands for. There's no equivalent for that word in other Slavic languages. The closest in English would be community, but it's really a group of people who are self-governed, self-intelligent body of members who work towards common goals. And if you can see, I want to show you our headlines and when they were coming out, because we were really ahead of the curve. Look in May of 2021, our headline, Time for Action for Ukraine is on now. That was when the troops were staged at the border. We were calling then on the US government, on Biden administration to act, to do sanctions at that very moment to stop what is happening right now. Look at our headlines in June of 2021. That's when we were protesting against Nord Stream. We were saying the headline reads, "Show some teeth, President Biden." And we remember the debacle that happened when they allowed that Nord Stream to proceed with, right? And another policy of appeasement that led to this atrocity that we're witnessing today. This is our headline in January 2022. Free world, do not sell out Ukraine and your values, because we were worried that some deal will be struck and they, in effect, will sell out Ukraine. Can you show the next slide? I just want to show some headlines. This is February, before the war has started, because our newspaper always comes out on the 1st of the month. The headline, preventive sanctions against Russia now. That was, Ukraine was pleading at that moment, saying, implement sanctions now so they know that the free world is serious about stopping criminal Putin. And don't do it later when they're already killing us. What are those sanctions good for us? We were, again, the next one, March 1st, no-fly zone over Ukraine. And we all remember the rallies and the pleading where all Ukrainian diaspora, everybody in Ukraine was pleading. That will save thousands of lives. And our latest, 1st of March headline, planes, tanks, and air defense system for Ukraine now. Right now we got it. We got the Lend-Lease. But we really were representing the voice and showing and asking and declaring on our front page what Ukraine was needing at that very moment, right? And we were getting it with a delay, but we were getting it. The next slide. Very early on, we were not only publishing the first Ukrainian newspaper on the West Coast, but we realized that we wanted to have some charitable component to our nonprofit. And we were collecting money for the children of the fallen heroes, Ukrainian soldiers who were fighting in Donbass since 2014, because as of January of this year, there were about 3,000 of such children. So before January of this year, we sent close to 100,000 to those children, $50 for Christmas for each child. Next slide, please. But obviously, when the war started, we knew that there will be a huge humanitarian crisis, and we reoriented our charitable activities very quickly. We started to fundraise, and the way how our organization works. We work on multiple aspects, but the majority is actually sending these micro grants. We work with a myriad of charitable organizations and volunteers in Ukraine who need money now for refugees, for children, for women. Our organization has no overhead expenses. It's all volunteer based. Each and every dollar that you contribute to our Angelic, to our organization, will get to the right place. I will give you some examples. For example, we worked with a charitable organization, TAPS Dnipro, in the city of Dnipro. They were buying food right after the war has started. And Kharkiv was bombarded very heavily. They were buying food, water, supplies, and bringing them to Kharkiv, giving them to the people, to the refugees there on the ground, and loading the truck with the refugees and bringing them back to Dnipro. And many other examples. You can go on our site, hromada.us, I cannot cover all of them right now, and see the full list of organizations and the micro grants that we have sent. Up to now, we have sent about $250,000. We're continuing with these efforts. The majority of our donation come from $25, $50, $100 donations. And we had some larger organizations that contributed, but mostly it's a community donation effort, and we're going to continue in that regard. And we also were actively, throughout this war, we are actively continuing our fight on the informational front, whether it's going on radio, whether it's going on TV, whether it's publishing op-eds, whether it's publishing these posters. By the way, there are quite a few of them, and you can grab them. You can put them in your windows, in your windowsill, on your cars, wherever you can. We printed over 4,000, our organization in partnership with the publishing company that publishes these billboards called NPR, up to Los Angeles and San Francisco. We printed over 4,000 of these posters, and no-fly zone over Ukraine, and then there was the next iteration, support Ukraine, never again is now. And we posted them in Chicago, Atlanta, New York City, San Francisco, over 4,000 of these posters. Please take them, please. There's also our newspaper here, the latest issue that was came out on May 1, so please grab them. And you can show us the next slide, please. What are our next initiatives, right? What are we doing right now? But before I switch to that, I just want to say a couple things, right? This is really a dark, horrible time that all Ukrainians are going through, right? Our souls have been hollowed out. There's a piece that has been left empty and will be like that with us forever. But through this dark experience, there have been some bright spots. And one of them is really that what I have seen, at least for me, my experience, is the sense of unity. I am from Western Ukraine. And I always thought of my homeland as that Western Ukraine where people speak Ukrainian language. And now, going through this experience, I really understand all those people from Eastern and Central Ukraine. They're my dear Ukrainians, and we really see the birthing of the nation, of the multi-ethnical nation. That is happening actually right now. It's a historic thing. And the other thing that I've seen is the sense of unity and the birthing of Hromadas, right? Multiple Hromadas, people, volunteers coming out of nowhere, helping, people whom you don't know, trusting just to get the help out there. So our initiative, because I'm running out of time, we're producing a series of charity concerts. You can go to our site, Hromada.us concerts, all over Northern California. Again, all the money will go for charity. These venues are giving us the space for free, just so that we can raise the funds. We will continue fundraise, continue publishing the newspaper, but very important initiative that I actually want to call on all the nonprofits. We have to demand, I don't know what we need to do, we need to figure out a plan to make sure that what's happening to Ukrainians right now is declared as genocide. So that not only we get, that's it, and everybody's saying it's tough, it's very tough. But we as Ukrainians, we're very tough as it is, and we can do this. And this is critical, not just to get justice, not to get closure, but just so that it will no longer, that narrative of Kremlin that we still hear out here and there is not allowed. There is no legitimacy to pro-Kremlin rhetoric. So I don't know what we need to figure it out. We need to put our heads together and figure it out. But I think declaring Russia as state sponsor of terrorism, and this what is happening right now, genocide against the Ukrainian people, is critical, and it's the fight that we have to fight and we cannot lose. Thank you very much. Slava Ukraini, Героям слава!